Hello everyone, this is the Professor Z, and today is a very special day, because today, the first episode of Overlord Season 4 has just been released. As a longtime Overlord fan, I am ecstatic to see volumes 10 and 11 of the light novels finally get their big anime debut. However, as someone who is heavily invested into the light novels, I also had my fair share of concerns going into this season. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's not waste any more time as we break down episode 1 of Overlord Season 4 and see what was lost and gained from the light novels. Immediately, we find Albedo getting her daily dose of Ainz' bed. Though, as she partakes in Ainz' bed, Albedo questions what kind of kingdom Ainz plans to create, before immediately diving back down into her pleasure. We then cut over to Ainz in his room in Irentel as he reads a book in bed. Since Ainz is undead, and thus doesn't need to sleep, he just gets up with the rising of the sun. We then get something that may confuse some anime-onlys out there, that being Ainz switching out the two books in this scene. You see, the book Ainz was reading was a simple story time book. Since Ainz wants to look intelligent in front of his subordinates, he switches the simple book with a more complicated one. So when they inevitably clean his room, they would find the more complicated book and not the childish storybook. Fifth then enters the room as the maid's switch shifts. The only reason I mention this is because this is the first time we've actually had an official illustration of her, and I very much enjoy her design. It's different from the other maids and makes her stand out. We then get Ainz' wardrobe change, and I'm gonna mention here that there is a lot of cut content from this episode. Anyone familiar with the light novels knows that there's a lot of internal dialogue for Ainz. The majority of it is cut from the anime, obviously because of time and monetary restrictions. This does hurt the story because there are a lot of things that go unexplained, like the whole book situation, but in the end, nothing groundbreaking is lost, but as a light novel reader, it does sting a little bit. But why do I mention that all here? Well, the wardrobe scene loses a lot of fun dialogue that makes the scene kind of bland without it. However, the next scene may be even worse off because of cut content. For starters, this is a lip bug. They eat a person's vocal cords in order to mimic that person's voice. As seen later in the episode, Ainz can equip the bug in order to change his own voice, which he does to distinguish himself from Momon, his alternate personality. Albedo then enters with several Elder Liches. The Elder Liches aren't just there to hold stuff, however. They're actually understudies to Albedo, trying to become efficient lawmen. Ainz then looks over the documents given to him, which he doesn't understand at all, but stamps with his approval anyway. After complimenting Albedo's smile and scaring the hell out of the aged assassins on the roof, since the last time Albedo got worked up around Ainz she had to be pried off of him, Ainz then breaks out suggestions from the various members of Nazarick, one of which is Ainz' very own, that doesn't fly over very well. There is a moment here where Ainz brings up Pistonia and Nigretto. As a refresher, Pistonia is the head of the maids. However, for anime-onlys, you're most likely unfamiliar with Nigretto. Nigretto is Albedo's sister, who is in charge of the Frost Prison on the 5th layer. Why is she never brought up in the anime? Because Nigretto appears in volume 3 of the light novels, and was in turn cut from season 1 of the anime. Here's a picture of her for all of you anime-onlys. As Ainz recovers from his rejected proposal, Aurora and Mare arrive to meet with Ainz. Aurora adorably asking to sit on Ainz' lap, with Mare following suit. Albedo being, well, Albedo also wants to sit on Ainz' lap, despite that being kinda weird. She does, however, eventually get her way, which leads to this scene most probably find really weird. However, let me explain. Do you remember in season 2 when Ainz rolls around on his bed and he comments that it smells really nice? Well, that was due to Albedo rolling around on his bed beforehand, and Ainz is now realizing that his bed and Albedo's smell are the same, although I don't believe he ever makes the full connection between the two. The order of events following this are actually slightly altered from the light novels, but it's honestly not that big of a deal. Albedo discloses that the Sorcerer's Kingdom is struggling with trade, and Ainz has a heart attack at Aurora's clothes swapping proposal. Different order, same results. This scene also exists, which is massive foreshadowing for the Overlord movie coming out soon, so hold on to that for now. Albedo also requests time to visit the Riestes kingdom, which would temporarily leave Pandora's actor in charge, which sounds like a horrible idea, but you have to remember that Pandora's actor is actually hyper intelligent despite his flamboyant nature. Ainz then goes and meets with Pandora's actor, which is about as awkward as you expect it would be. However, before Ainz can leave, Pandora's actor poses the same question Albedo did at the very beginning of the episode. What kind of nation does Ainz plan to create? I do want to mention that I love the fade into Ainz standing on the roof, overlooking the city as Pandora's actor's voice echoes in the background. This awesome scene, however, covers up quite a chunk of cut content. I won't go over all of it, but the most significant part cut is Ainz's use of super tier magic to create the angels seen following him during the remainder of the episode. And I also will say that the angels here are not as cool as I was expecting them to be. They are kind of underwhelming. We then get to see and hear Ainz's lip bug, which sounds different than I was expecting, but that's to be expected. Then Ainz arrives at the Adventurers Guild. He proceeds to discuss the future of the guild with Ainzach, the guild's leader. Through this conversation, Ainz realizes what kind of country he hopes to rule. A country where all races, human or otherwise, can live under his rule for eternity. Though this may be the end of the episode, I do want to mention one thing. I don't know if they're going to cut this entirely, or if it's just going to be pushed to the next episode due to time constraints. But if it is cut, that would mean that the anime has officially cut out both of the scenes where the Magician's Guild headmaster would have appeared in. The first one being at the very beginning of the series in Season 1, and now in Season 4, if things go unchanged, we will be cutting him once again. The guy just can't catch a break. There's also a moment cut where Ainz was talking to an adventurer, but it honestly doesn't change anything for the story, so it's fine. Okay, so episode 1 was overall pretty good. The animation was solid throughout, outside of the small weird face here and there. The voice acting was great, and besides the massive cut content, some of which I didn't even get to talk about, the story flowed well enough. I know it might be annoying for some of you to hear me harp on about the cut content and the light novel, but I truly enjoy the source material, and I want to see as much of it as possible make its way into the anime. That, and it's my channel, and I can talk about whatever I want! In conclusion though, episode 1 was a good starting point, and I hope it only gets better from here. As always though, thank you all so much for watching. This has been the Professor Z, and I'll see you all next time.